Hello. 1 o'clock p.m. on May 1st, 2020. How is everyone out there? Hi, everybody in social media land. For joining me to talk about traveling during the pandemic, because May 1st, 2020, we're dealing with a pandemic of COVID-19 or the novel coronavirus. Okay, so who am I? I am Yvette McQueen, MD, emergency physician and travel doctor, a global physician on a mission to educate about health, travel wellness, and disease prevention. So, what I do is I help busy professionals to travel healthy and safely as a travel concierge physician and also a wellness coach to help you stay well, healthy, and safe during travel. So that's who I am. And so I'm an emergency physician. I travel around the United States and the Caribbean working in different ERs. So I know a little bit about travel. Also help travel groups, giving them travel, pre-medical travel, and during the international travel. So that's why I'm coming to you about this pandemic. So let's start off with first, let's do an update. May 1st, 2020, let's do an update of the COVID-19 because states are starting to open it up. We have been doing the mitigation or basically lockdown or social isolation for basically the last 6 weeks. A lot of states and areas since the middle of March have been shut down, businesses, restaurants, all that. As of today, last week and today, a lot of states are starting to open it up as far as phasing of essential businesses opening, trying to get the economy back, opening restaurants and opening today. Some states are opening stores and malls, but at a reduced capacity. Some restaurants are still doing takeout and delivery only. Some are doing, sit down, but distancing and other things. So because things are starting to happen and summer is starting to come up, people are starting to think about travel. So that's the main thing. I belong to a lot of travel groups. They've talked about, oh, should I cancel my trip? What's going on? I got summer vacation plan. I got airline tickets. What's going on? What should I do? And that has been a frequent question in a lot of my groups, and how to stay safe. So if I still need to travel, and there's still essential travelers out there. There are still people taking care of business. They need to go to different places, look at their sites. Doctors and nurses are traveling. Like I said, I'm a travel doctor. I travel to different rural hospitals and work there. So there's still essential travel. People are still traveling on planes. So let's talk about that. So our agenda, I told you who I am, and I gave you that COVID-19 update. So we're going to talk about upcoming travel by flights, cars, trains. We're going to talk about lodging. We're going to talk about international travel. We're going to talk about domestic travel, and then we're going to talk about health and safety. Yeah, about some health. So airlines. So there's a lot of new things about airlines. First of all, there was a lot of airline flights that was canceled since mid-March when things started to happen. So now it's mandatory for all employees employees and staff, flight attendants, pilots, to wear a facial mask. You may actually see them too, as far as flight attendants on planes, using glove as they pass things along the aisle. On some airlines, you need to check the airline that you fly in, but most of them are actually mandating, or some of them have actually all joined. It's not a FAA or federal requirement, but they're requiring you to wear a mask during travel. Even you need to bring your own, because it's not guaranteed that the airline will have it. So some airlines say, well, we're going to be passing out masks. Those are hard to come by, especially the surgical mask. You could have your own made man mask, the ones with the loop ear. Check out my previous series about how to wear a facial mask, okay? How to wear it properly. So bring your own hand sanitizer, although they're having a contactless hand sanitizer areas. There's still leisure travel. They're saying there's about, most airplanes are now about 5 to 6% filled, and they notice each week is ticking up. So last week they said maybe a regular jet had maybe 10 of non-employee passengers, where this week they have 17. So it's steadily ticking up. Leisure travel has not been banned. Like I said, there's still essential travel of everyone that's need to go to fly different places. But leisure travel is starting to tick up, particularly because states are opening up. So people are going to book flights to go see those family members they haven't seen. But there's been a change of, they're still blocking seats. So I know we saw a video on the news or something last week of one of the flights that was packed. And the airlines are saying that's unusual because they are blocking seats. They're blocking seats as far as the middle seats, or only two, if you're family, 2 passengers in a 3-seat row. I know some airlines have discontinued the upgrades or the first class, so that there's only very limited in the first class area or the business class area. Some planes has disrupted their boarding process. They're no longer doing zones, but they're booking from the back of the plane to the front, so that when you walk through, you're not passing other people, to decrease your contact with others. Once again, you wear a mask, they wear a mask. You're protecting yourself. Okay, so flights are being canceled randomly. Make sure it's like on a rolling basis. So if they feel that they don't have the personnel to do it, or it's not booked enough, they may cancel the flight. So especially with the regional and smaller airports. So if you're looking for a flight, you may need to drive for 1 to 2 hours to the bigger airports. Now, as far as refunds, so airlines, if it was booked before March, and the travel is up until May, they give certain dates. Check your airline, whichever it is. They're giving refunds or credit. So the thing is, if you cancel the flight, most likely you get a credit. If the airline canceled your flight, they will offer you a credit, airline credit. But by department rules, they actually have to give you a refund. So if you prefer a refund for that flight, call them up and say, yes, I see that you gave me a credit for that flight, but I prefer to have a refund because the airline canceled the flight. And they're obligated to do that. A lot of the flight credits, but if you fly a lot and you fly with that airline a lot, the flight credits are for but a year to 2 years. Once again, check your airline. Some of them are going to the end of 2020. Some of them are going to 2021. Some of them actually are going to 2022. So please check your airlines on that. The cleaning of the planes is actually probably one of the safest times they are, because that was always one of my beef about the cleaning planes. I was on a plane every week. So it's like, the cleaning of the planes, they used to just rush in, clean, pick up papers and rush off. Well, they're spreading the time, the boarding times, the flights, the time in between flights are longer now. The flights, they're cleaning, they're actually doing wipe downs. They're wiping down the trays and the seats, not just picking up the trash. They're using a defogger, sanitizer on some planes. And they're actually giving the flight attendants options to hold the plane up or hold the flight up if they don't feel it was cleaned sufficiently. So it's actually cleaning. But still, I tell people, always take your cleaning wipes with you. Myself, I do that myself, or I go in, I clean the tray table, I clean the armrest, I clean the monitor, or anything that you touch, the seat belt and the window shade and the little knob. Make sure you hit the knob where you scoot back. Make sure you clean that. I make sure to do that. So, okay, so some people say, oh, well, flights are so cheap now. Flights aren't cheap. You may find 1 or 2 cheap, or they may say, oh, in the fall, we're going to have some cheap flights. Be very careful about that. First of all, make sure you find out what the cancellation policy is for getting those flights, whether you have good refund. But flights, because of the reduced capacity and as they increase, they're still going to stay about 50% reduced as far as passenger of their flights. They're going to be blocking that middle seat so they can't sell it. So flights, and they've lost billions of dollars in the first quarter because of the March shutdown. So the flights are not reduced. They're actually going to be more expensive, believe it or not. So just plan for it and know what the refund policy that you are having. Also, if you're planning an international flight, please check that country, if you can actually enter that country. Don't book a flight and then you get there and they be like, you can't come in, get back on the next plane, and then you're responsible for your return flight or booking it. So make sure you're checking that out. A lot of airplanes now are limiting your carry-ons. Before, you was like, oh, I'm going to take my bag so I don't have to pay the check fee. They're limiting carry-ons of what you can bring and how many you can bring. They're being very strict about it because that's storage space and along with other items that can be touched. They're limiting beverages and meal plans. So, of course, they're not giving beverages out a lot in the short flights. If it's a longer flight with the meal plan, it's a box. Yeah, they're not doing that whole microwave. Here's a meal. And really, airplane food, really? So pick up your meal, bring your meal, probably just buy your beverage before you get on the flight. That might help. Remember, prices of flights are going up. So if you are looking to travel later in the fall or even 2021, if you have that credit, book it. And consider a lot of them have very flexible waive fees. So that's about flights. You're traveling by car. Let's talk about car. So as people increase, it's suspected that as states open up and the travel for this summer is going to be more domestic travel, which means you're going to be traveling around the United States. I'm coming from the United States, people. So you'll be traveling around the United States, and we call that domestic travel. And some of the ways people do travel basically is by car. A lot of travel reports have come out to say it's safest because you're going from your home into your own car, and then you're going to wherever you're going, whether it's family member's house or lodging. If you're going from your house, which has been quarantined, to another house that's already quarantined, and they're safe, that's great, okay? But there are other things of lodging, and we'll get that to a minute. But if you are traveling by your car, make sure the maintenance of your car is up. When's the last time you had your oil change? When's the last time you had your tires checked? Make sure you have enough windshield washer fluid in it. Make sure you just have that points maintenance check on your car if you're going to be traveling on the highways. Make sure you have some roadside assistant plan, okay? And there's different plans out there, AARP, AAA. Your credit cards have roadside assistant plans you can join, but of course it's for a fee. But sometimes it's helpful because they give you 24-hour emergency service. Do you need a battery jump? Do you need a flat tire change? Because they make sure you're not left in a dangerous position. Do you need lockout service? Do you need a fuel service? You ran out of gas and didn't realize you ran out of gas. Some of these roadside assistance service plans give you trip planning. You get online and say, hey, I'm going from Atlanta to Colorado, and they actually will plot out the most efficient route. They give you where gas is. They give you lodging. They even sometimes tell you where the construction is. So, and they also give you discount for different places. So consider getting a roadside assistant plan if you're going by your car. You need to map out your travel route, okay? So if you're driving in your car, map out your travel route. How you going, like I said, put it on a map. You know how many hours it takes. Make sure you know how much your tank takes is right. Especially with some of the newer cars, you got 322 miles before you run out of fuel. So you don't run out of fuel. You find out where you can stop to get gas and to eat, and if you need to do overnight lodging. And make sure if you're checking to do overnight lodging, you plan ahead and you call and you make reservations and make sure that place is open, because a lot of the hotels are still not open. Things to keep in your car if you're traveling in your car. Now, I'm saying this is going back to the old times where you traveled in your car and you had to keep things in your car. This is what you need. You need to keep water, okay? At least, they say, 2 to 3 bottles per person that's traveling in your car. Foods and snacks in your car. So if you decide you don't want to stop at the roadside diner, which there probably won't be eat-ins, or the Waffle House may not be open, you may need to take your food, pack your food ahead of time, and pack a cooler, pack ice, put it in your car and take it with you. Make sure you have a medical kit in your car. And I'm going to talk about medical kits and things you should have, but a medical kit should be in your car because you never know what's going to happen, scrapes, cuts, things like that. I tell people have duct tape in their car, D-U-C-T, duct tape, the famous dad duct tape. Duct tape will fix anything. Man, I have fixed some suitcases while traveling with duct tape. Make sure you have that in your car. A fix-a-flat, something, or make sure you have your spare tire. How many people have taken their spare tire out and say, I'm taking it out for room and didn't put it back in? Make sure your spare tire is in there if you do have a flat, with a jack or a fix-a-flat. Make sure you have jumper cables in case your car does stop and you need to jump or someone's around if you don't have that roadside assistance service. A multi-purpose toolkit. Those are the things, you can have like 10 to 12 things in there. A lot of them have that puncher window, remember, because in case you have to expect for things, it's spring, it's summer. Flooding or tornadoes are coming up. You never know when you're going to get in flash floods. You need to get out of the car in emergency, cut the seatbelt quickly. Make sure you have a flashlight in your car with extra batteries. And also make sure you have either a reflective triangle or a bright cloth, something very bright, that if you need to tie it to the antenna in your car, that your car could be found, okay? So if you go on rental cars, let me tell you about rental cars. So if you're going somewhere, you're renting a car, or you flew somewhere and you got a rental car. So there's some rental car places that are still closed. Most of them at the airport are open, but the ones that are around the cities are closed. So you need to check ahead, book online. You need to book directly. You can always do at least a search on the third engine ones, third party ones, the different third party ones, Priceline, Expedia, stuff like that. Be careful of booking on that because most of them are prepaid, and if you need to cancel your trip, you may not get a refund. So you can always price and see who has the least and then go directly to that site. So go directly to Budget or National or Hertz, Avis, whichever one you choose, okay? You may have discounts with your credit cards too, so check that. And so the airport location rental cars are still there. They say they clean cars in between the rentals. Take your own stuff as usual. When I go in, I'm wiping down, once again, the high touch areas. Of course, the steering wheel, the gear shift, whether it's up here or down, the turn signals, the wiper signal, wipe those down, the door handles, the knobs, of course the key fob. Don't forget that key fob, the radio, the monitor, the seat belt, the click area, the things that you touch, the mirrors you touch, I wipe those down, okay? If you join a program, so whoever you decide to rent to, consider joining their frequent rewards program, and you can skip the counter. So the less contact you have people, you don't have to stand in line. You don't have to do that. They have your credit card information. You skip the line, you go and directly and pick up your car, and you show your driver license when you're going out, and you least contact with people. Remember to take your mask. Also, while driving in a car, there's toll. There's a lot of toll roads around. Once again, mapping out your travel, that there's toll roads. Consider having, and most of the toll roads are cashless now. Of course, if you don't have anything that you're not used to toll, they'll actually take a picture of your plate. So if your own car and they take a picture of your plate, they're going to send it to your address. If it's a rental car, guess what? If it's a rental car, they're going to go back to that rental car and they're going to charge your credit card. So some people end up buying with the Easy Pass that they can put up in the windshield that they can use, and those are purchasable. If you're traveling by train, so in the United States, it's by Amtrak. If you're traveling by train, there's been a big reduction, and they've actually suspended some routes. So once again, it's all about planning ahead. They say they've done a 50% of reduction of their routes. So take a mask where you're sitting. They're distancing. They're not sitting. They're not selling as many tickets. Some of the stations are not staffed anymore, so considering they said they are cleaning stations and trains more frequently, but some stations are not staffed. So they've gone to the cashless ticket sales. So you have to buy online, and they suggest you download the Amtrak app for your ticket and purchasing. Okay? They do have waive change fees. So if you bought tickets ahead of time, they are waiving the change fee up until May 31st of this year. After that, we don't know what's going on. Okay? Good. So we talked about flights, what to do with flights. We talked about traveling in a car, things you carry in your car, rental cars, and on trains. We're moving on. Great. Let's talk about lodging. So are you going to stay at a hotel when you go again? Once again, a lot of hotels had, because of the lockdown, and they've had about, they've only occupancy about 5%. So there's a lot of hotels, like the smaller chains, have closed and combined. So if one city had a Hampton Inn, a Hilton Garden Inn, a Hilton, a Doubletree, they had all that. A lot of them closed some of them and combined all of them and closed and combined their staff. So plan ahead, find out what hotel you're staying at, see what they are. And so some of the changes, they have changed. Once again, I suggest not to book on the third-party sites. You book with them and you need to cancel. It's not guaranteed you will get a refund. Book directly with the hotel site, directly on their online. Join their frequent travelers program, the rewards program. It will give you an advantage. It'll get you advantage of the rooms you're going to pick. It gives you advantage of prices. And download the app, because they're suggesting, as far as checking in the hotels, to avoid the front desk. So with the app, you can check in ahead, get your room. They have the electronic keys, a lot of the hotels, where you just open your door with your phone. So you avoid a lot of people. They're cleaning more. So according to the American Hotel and Lodging Association, okay, so they formed hygiene managers, and they've gone to, and the hotels now are they're cleaning differently. So they actually have gone to the hospital grade cleaning supplies. Wow, did not know. I stayed at a lot of hotels. Did not know they was not using hospital grade. So I guess that's a step up. So they're now using hospital grade cleaning supplies for their cleaning. They're cleaning rooms in the high traffic areas more frequently. They're doing social distancing. So a lot of the hotels that have the breakfast buffets, they're not having them anymore. Buffets are out, kids. Buffets are out. They're having to go. A lot of them they'll have the to-go box or to-go bag, like breakfast, if they're offering you breakfast. They're stopped a lot of the coffee stations, the drink stations. Those are gone away. They place a hand sanitizer in more places, like closer to the elevators or the front desk or either high traffic areas. Or the ice machines. Consider that too. Ice machines, people are touching that. Let's see. So yeah, and decrease the storage of your luggage. So think about if you're going somewhere, we would go somewhere, we store our luggage, run and come and check in. they're not letting you store luggage as much. So consider the planning of when you're going to check in, or when you can check in, their check-in time, so that you can go directly to your room. And that's another reason for using the app and the frequent programs, because usually check-in time is what, 3 o'clock p.m.? A lot of times, if you're one of their frequent flyers or frequent reward people, you can check in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning or 12 noon. Once again, of course, they have empty rooms, so they'll be like, yeah, sure, you can check in early and put your luggage so that you're not storing luggage. So think about that. And they decrease in fitness equipment, so a lot of them are not having the gyms. And consider the swimming pools. Of course, the swimming pools, actually most swimming pools are sanitized with chlorine. Chlorine kills anything, remember? So swimming, it's okay for swimming. It's just make sure you're using social distance. Considering the seats you're sitting on, I would put a towel under that, clean the seat, use a towel, use multiple towels. Don't sit directly on the seat. Swimming is good, and make sure you're keeping social distancing if there's other people in the pool area. So that's about hotels. Once again, plan ahead. Make sure that hotel is available. Moving on, let's talk about international travel. So international travel, some of us are itching to go, and I know we are. So are flights still going international? Yes, they are. Check your airline once again. The point is that country accepting you. So you got to go through customs in a lot of different countries, and what's going to happen when you get there. So some of the countries are, when you get to customs and you go in, the United States is kind of late to the game as far as having COVID. So we're behind the curveball, and they're saying we're not accepting U.S. citizens. So please check that. Some of them, when you get there, they're taking your temperature. They're doing temperature scan. Some of them, like in, I think I saw it in Dubai, and it was either Korea or it was one of the Asian countries, where they're actually doing the rapid COVID testing when you land. So they have a rapid COVID testing where they get the results in 15 minutes. Now, that's not the swab. They actually check your blood, and they're checking antibodies. So even if you had COVID and you recovered, you're going to have antibodies. So you could not be positive at that time, but you have antibodies, and they can turn you away. So please make sure you know what the rules are. And the rules are of the country you're going to visit. Because you're going, oh, I just saw on the line, cheap flights to France in June. Really? Because, of course, when you get there, what's going to be available? So when you get there, they may say, well, you get here, we can't guarantee you're not sick, so quarantine for 14 days. Was you planning to stay for that country for 14 days? And was you planning to stay in that hotel for 14 days? That means if you quarantine in that country for 14 days, you're not touring, you're just there. You can do that at home, you know? So there's a lot of tours that have reduced. Some of the museums are not open. Some of the tourist attractions are not open, or they have limited hours. They have reduction of capacity, what they would bring in. A lot of the tour operators say they have reduced their tours. So if you're doing like one of their bus tours, or you're going through one of the travel agencies, they say, and they're going with smaller groups, 10 to 12, max maybe 20 people. They're reduced that as far as their tour groups. If you're going internationally to some of the resorts, some of the all-inclusive resorts, you had booked it last year to go in June and July to the all-inclusive resorts. So all-inclusive resorts, they will supply you the food, but there's going to be alternate. Once again, buffets are out. So the tourism, the global, the Wellness and Global Tourism Association says buffets are out. They're putting that out now. The drink stations are out. So if you have all-inclusive, either you're going to eat at a restaurant, social distance, eat in your room, or they're going to arrange for you to eat in different little corners on the beach or something like that, which isn't bad. But buffets are out. So check if you have reservations at all-inclusive. So you have all-inclusive, make sure you can get in that country, that you don't have to be quarantined, and what the resort is still offering, what is still available, what tours are still available in the area. Once again, plan ahead. Now, some of the areas, like if you planning for late fall or 2021, some places are now having layaway plans. So they're trying to increase their guarantee that they can have tourists come. So they actually have a layaway plan so you don't have to pay up ahead. Make sure you always take your mask with you, multiple masks, because some of them break down. Whatever you have, you need to wash them. Make sure you find out what their cleaning process is. But I always take my own cleaning supplies. Oh, I forgot to talk about AirBNB. So I take my own cleaning supplies of, once again, wipes. So if people have scheduled Airbnbs, let me tell you what Airbnb is doing. Airbnb is allowing you to cancel and get a refund if you book before March 15th. So if you book before March 15th, and your travel is before June 15th, you can get a refund. What you need to go is on the site, go to your trips, you cancel. It's a drop-down box. You cancel. The reason you cancel it is due to COVID-19. You got to put that in. They suggest you contacting an owner or your host to tell them that you're canceling, because that is their revenue. So Airbnb will contact them and say they're canceling. That's only until June 15th. If you booked an Airbnb after June 15th, that host does not have to give you a refund. They can give you a partial refund or go to their cancellation policy, or they have 48 hours to respond and say no. So if you say, I have a trip in the fall, I don't think I should travel, I booked an Airbnb or a rental, and you clicked you want to cancel due to COVID-19, they can say no to you easily. So then you have to go by the cancellation process. Airbnb is waiving the change fees for it. So Airbnb, you get, it's up until June 15th, due to COVID-19 reasons, you get a refund. If it's after June 15th, it's up to the host whether they want to give you a refund or not. But once again, take your own cleaning supplies. COVID-19 is what we call RNA virus, which you can basically destroy it or break down with regular soap and water cleaning supplies. So I take cleaning supplies, I take rags, and of course you're going to take the gloves because you don't want to touch things. And so you can clean the area. But Airbnb also, their cleaning policy now is that there should be 24 hours between rentals. So before they'd be like, okay, you leave this morning, we got a rental coming at 1. So there's supposed to be 24 hours between rental for extensive cleaning and destruction of the virus. Okay, international travel. Make sure you check that country. Some international airlines are not flying or grounded their planes up until June. So if you're flying from here to London and then planning to take a plane from London to your other place, please check that airline, because like Ryanair is a big European, one of their cheap flight ones. They've grounded 90% of their planes. So please check and check the train schedules, because once again, train schedules in Europe have changed. They reduced the capacity of the amount of people they can have. They only have 1 seat per. So it used to be 2 or 3 seats. You can sit there and you may have to share it with one person per seat. So they've reduced that. Make sure you do that. Their European or the foreign airlines have reduced due to travel bans and airspace, and basically some countries are just not letting other countries come in right now. So I know a lot of effect is up to June. After June, you have travel, check that. So just make sure you're going international, what the custom is. You might be quarantined for 14 days. You may not be able to do all those tours you're thinking of. Activities are reduced. And just check that out. Even though flights may be cheap, plan ahead. Quickly about cruises. Cruises are starting to book, and they say their booking is up for 2021. Yes. And there are at least less expensive. I had a cruise planned for June. I canceled it. That same cruise that was June for next year is half the price. So if you're okay with cruises, right now with coronavirus or COVID-19, they're booking for 2021 with reduced price. The thing is, remember, once again, when you travel internationally or you're traveling with cruises, there's a that one, you can get stuck where you're at, and just being honest, you're going to get there. There's a 14-day quarantine. You can stay there. You're going to get stuck in that country where you can't come back in the United States. Make sure you check and return flights. You can get stuck on a cruise, or when you come back, your business, or your, especially I know hospital workers, doctors, they say if you travel internationally, you can't come back to work for 14 days. So that's added on to your vacation or international if you decided to travel, okay? Let's talk about domestic travel. Travel around the United States. So once again, I said that's probably where the most travel is going to increase this summer as people start to come out in June and July, and they've had vacations planned. You may have canceled some of them, or you may want to plan some vacations. They're like, let's do the staycation. So the first thing is to consider is the staycation in your own city. Some people don't even realize their city has so much tourist information. I mean, even some of the small towns have tourist attractions that you need to try. So go to your tourism site for your city and see what's available, and make a vacation out of that. Make a vacation of going to some of the tourist sites in your own city, taking 3 or 4 days and say, we're not going to worry about work. We're gonna go as a family or a couple or by yourself and enjoy be a tourist in your own city. If there's not enough in your own city, considering neighboring cities. Are you like an hour outside of Kansas City? Are you an hour outside of Denver? Are there things to do? Drive there, make it a driving vacation, a day trip vacation, to go see what's in neighboring cities. Your state, go to your state tourism. What does Colorado have to offer? What does New Mexico have to offer? What's the activities? Now, a lot of festivals and activities and large things are being canceled, but considering, what does your state have to offer? Your state has national parks. So domestically, take advantage of your state in national parks. Each state in the United States has a national park. Okay, so you can go to, it's called nps.gov, National Park Service, nps.gov, to see the national parks around you or that you can drive through or the activities they're having. You can get a park pass if you plan to do more than one, because some of them have interest fees. They start anywhere from $3, they can go to $25. So get a park pass. You can get an annual pass. You can get a senior pass. And actually, U.S. military gets a free pass to national parks. So are you U.S. military? You get a free pass to national parks. So see what your state has as far as national park or the neighboring state. Make a day trip, a 2-day trip. Be aware what your national park, it's something that this wonderful United States have. So you, once again, nps.gov, you can find about pass, you can find the nearest park. You go to your national park, always stop at the visitor center, or they actually have the download apps now for the maps of the park or what to do and what to do. There's park rangers there to help you also. There's also free days for national parks, so consider that. If you're traveling outside your city or your state, once again, lodging, check lodging, see if your rental or your Airbnb or the hotel is available, and what's the cancellation process if you need to cancel and move on. So that's something for just plan ahead. Reservations, tickets, do a lot of things online, have the apps available. A lot of things, again, are reduced capacity. Amusement parks, a lot of people plan ahead. I was going to Disney World, I was going to Disneyland, I was going to Orlando. Let me tell you what Orlando's doing. Orlando met last week, their tourism, and they came and said they're doing a rollout process of opening. So they're having 2 phases of opening right now. So they're telling parks, it's up individual to each park, but they're telling them first they're going to open by 50% capacity. So all employees and staff of the parks have to wear masks and gloves. They increased the capacity by 50%. So they're going to have hand sanitizer station at the ticket counters. And when you get on the ride, when you get off the ride, the lines, you won't be bundled up in lines. You're going to have to say 6 feet away. So the lines are going to be a little different. So that's why it's 50%. If you have, like for Disney, if you have annual passes, they are honoring those annual passes. I think up until next year, I have to double check that. If you had tickets this year, they're honoring your tickets. If you already bought your Disney tickets, they're honoring your tickets up to December 31st, 2020. So you can go at any time for that. If you want a refund of your tickets, you need to contact them or have a replacement ticket for another time next year. Also, they've waived a lot of, if you was staying on Disney property with their hotels, they are actually having, they're waiving the change fee. I can't say they're giving you a total refund, but you got to call them individually to find out. So what you need to take if you're going to the parks, and please take hand sanitizer with you. You don't have to wear gloves. And I tell people, you know, you wearing gloves is not going to stop it, because you wearing gloves, touching things, you still going to do everything you're going to do. You touch yourself, touch your face, do everything. And now you're just touching them with gloves, the same as hands. It's not stopping the spread. Take hand sanitizer with you and wash your hands as frequently as you can. Okay? So, great. We're moving on. So that's domestic travel. Now I'm going on to health and safety. This is toward the end. Health and safety, I want to talk about the items that you need to take. We talked about the mask, whether it's the maid mask or surgical mask. You do not need N95 if you're not a hospital employee. I'm just going with that, okay? So the mask is, you wear it with the loops. Once again, I talked about how to wear masks, check that out, how to put it on and take it off. So, but things you need to take with you, I take cleaning wipes with me, even if it's the small cleaning wipes, this individual package, or the wet ones. Just, you know, if I feel like my hand is too soiled or I've touched something real dirty, dirt or anything else, I use wipes. Use hand sanitizer. You're not supposed to use hand sanitizer if you have dirty hands. If you have dirt on your hands, do not use hand sanitizer. But, you know, you need to wash your hands, basically, and that's why I use wipes. And I do carry gloves if I'm going to be using, like, dirt, contact, messy stuff. That's why I carry gloves. I use gloves to fill my gas tank up. That's why I use gloves. If you're going, like I said, if you're staying at a rental AirBNB, I take my cleaning supplies with me in rags. But for your first aid kit, so there's different first aid kits out. I'm going to put that out there. So you can take the little small ones that just have the bandages and Band-Aids. But if you're traveling, and that's great for the planes, but if you're traveling domestically in car, I suggest, and particularly if you have children, I suggest you get a good first aid kit. There's various ones. I'm going to suggest one in a minute, but there's various ones you can have and carry with you. So in your first aid kits, of course, Band-Aids and bandages, alcohol swabs, any wound cleanser, sting relief, any antibacterial ointment like Neosporin. Make sure you have stomach medicine, upset stomach medicine, anti-acid medicine. We're on vacation. We eat differently. Allergy medicine, whether it's for seasonal allergies or in case you have an allergic reaction. Of course, if you know you're allergic to bees and nuts, you should have your EpiPen. Please carry with your EpiPen. And antihistamine. Any pain medicine or fever reducer medicine, whichever one you choose, whichever one you like. The kit I'm going to suggest was designed by another ER doctor. I wish I had thought of that idea, but you go, girl. Dr. Khadijah. She actually made what we call a MD mobile kit, and that's what you need to go to. And I'll put it in the comments after I finish. It's called the Mobile MD Kit. So TheMobilemDKit.com. TheMobileMDKit.com. And it actually has all that in it. It's compassive. You can carry it. It's something you can put in your car. take with you on vacations, have it in a hotel, and it has everything that you need for travel. And it's like having an MD in a kit. That's why she called it the Mobile MD Kit. Okay, the mobilemdkit.com. Also, when you're traveling for health, take your prescription medicines. So when you take your prescription, of course, internationally, you need to take it in the individual bottles because your name needs to be on it for customs. But when you're traveling, please take at least a month's supply. You were like, but I'm only going to be gone a week or 7 weeks. Are you sure? A lot of people thought that on the cruise. They were on a cruise for 7 days, and they got stuck out there for 45 days. And they was running out of medicine. They was running out of insulin. They was running out of their heart medicine. And either they had to buy it from the clinic or not have it at all. Think about it. So because during this pandemic area, because COVID is not going away anytime soon. Okay, they're releasing some of the lockdown. They're opening up the states, but it's still around because there's no vaccine, and it's going to be around. So there's still going to be increased cases. There's still going to be it's a highly contagious disease. That's why you want to wear the mask. And of course, we have a high morbidity to it. So if you have chronic disease, first of all, consider your travel. Do you really need to travel right now? But if you have prescription medicine, you need to take at least 1 month's supply with you. And you like, well, the pharmacy, they only give me so much. So consider calling your pharmacy and saying, hey, I'm traveling. I need extra medicine. So that's always a choice because I know that you get it's too early to get your refill, but you can call the pharmacy, say, I'm traveling. I need extra medicine in case I get stuck somewhere. Of course, if you forget your medicine, I hope you don't forget your prescription medicine because that should be one of the first things you pack. If you belong to a big chain, Walgreens, Duane Reaver, Rite Aid, CVS, Walmart, if you get your medicine with any of that, it's in their system, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm in Chicago for 3 days, and if I forgot my medicine, can I get 3 days worth? Check my prescription on your national record. You can do that. They let you do that. You may have to pay cash for that, and the insurance will not cover it, but consider that if you forget your medicine. But please take your prescription medicine, at least 1 month supply, if you're traveling. If you're going internationally, of course, I said you take your prescription medicine in the bottles because your name needs to be on it. Also, if you're going internationally, consider taking your over-the-counter medicines that you like. Do you like Tylenol versus ibuprofen? Do you like Benadryl? I mean, they may not have that medicine. They probably do, but it has a different name to it. And a lot of us don't know the generic names. Like the generic name for Benadryl is diphenylhydramine, acetaminophen. Acetaminophen for Tylenol is actually called something different in Europe. So please take if you're going internationally, you may not be able to find your over-the-counter medicine. And then when you're traveling too, please check the medical facilities at your destination. Where are you going? Especially if you have chronic disease. Do you have, if you get sick, will they be able to take care of you? Of course, like if you're pregnant and you're traveling, make sure that they have OB services wherever you're going. Because a lot of people, I know they took those baby moon. They say, I'm 7 months, I can travel, and they go somewhere internationally and they have premature labor and get stuck there. Make sure they have the services you need. Make sure, if you're a dialysis patient, you're traveling, make sure that you have areas you can find dialysis, that those things are important that you do. Make sure they have facilities and make sure you know the location. So if you go into a rural area, you want those national parks, find out where the closest hospital is that you need to drive to. Okay, because of course, unfortunately, in our other states, if you're not in one of the big cities and you're in the rural areas, a lot of the smaller hospitals, either they only like 2 or 3 bed ED, they don't, or the hospital have closed. So you need to reconsider that. Because of that. So you might have to drive an hour to a hospital or ER. So make sure you know where you're going. So that's basically wraps up what I have to tell you as far as traveling during the pandemic. And I hope you take those do's and don'ts and catch it. Now, once again, you know me, I am the travel doctor. I do travel medicine concierge. This is the book I wrote. Wrote it almost 2 years ago. Okay, you can find it. It's called Travelpedia, How to Travel Efficiently, Healthy, and Safely. It tells some of the tips I talked about it. This was very, very specific for pandemic, but you can always pick up Travelpedia. So if you want the hard copy, you can always pick it up at travelpediabook.com. Travelpediabook.com. You get an autographed copy along with a special gift, or you can get the ebook on Amazon. Okay, where can you find me? So of course, if you're on here, you can find me here, Yvette McQueen, MD. I do live talks about travel, wellness, and health. Once again, I'm about prevention of health disease, health education, prevention of health disease, and wellness. So you can find me on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, what's the other one? Twitter, telling you information. It's at Yvette McQueen, MD. And so if you want to grab some of my services, whether it's my concierge physician service, traveling services, wellness services, you know what? They call me the Med Queen. Who? The Med Queen. MEDQUEEN. I'll put it in there. MedQueenLLC.com. You can find me there. So I'm not on TikTok yet. I guess I need to learn that. So I hope you enjoyed this and gained some information. Let me know in your comments. I'm glad you watched. If you have more questions, throw them in the comments and I will answer them as quickly as I can. Once again, I am Yvette McQueen, MD, a global physician on a mission to educate about health, travel, wellness, and disease prevention. So ciao for now. Stay safe, stay well.